may feel like you're a little sidekick or a background actor or supporting a musician who's soloing, what have you, but you're important. They're all important. And so you see how you're just a cog in the works. No, you all work together to make the final product. If you have a show without the lighting person, you're doing it in the dark. If you have a show without the stage manager, where is everybody? I don't know. They're all over the place. So, yeah, everyone has an important piece of that puzzle.
I'm Candice Rodardi, and this is Gratitude Geek, the podcast for micropreneurs building genuine, lasting connections with clients, colleagues, and community. This week, we are thrilled to be participating in the 3rd edition of Podcasthon. This week, more than 1,000 podcasts around the globe are showcasing their charity of choice. And today, I have the absolute pleasure of welcoming Heather Edwards, the founder of AhHa Broadway. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you so much. I'm excited.
Okay,
Fantastic.
So tell us, what is AhHa Broadway?
AhHa Broadway is based in New York City, but we serve people all over the United States, Canada. We have a student in Italy as well. We do arts education programming for children, seniors, veterans, and neurodivergent adults.
Wow. So what does that look like? Since you said you have clients all over the world, what does that look like?
Basically, we launched expecting to do in-person programming for children, and our official launch date was set for April 2020. And the whole world knows what happened, don't they?
Good
So
times. Good
Good
times.
times. Not sure if that's exactly what I would describe it as. But yes, so we pivoted and did online learning, and thank goodness it was very successful. So we were able to have reach beyond New York City via Zoom. Thank you, Zoom. Thank you, all those platforms that get us out there. And something that happened was a lot of the senior centers and veteran centers were closed, so people did not have access to the community. So we began doing programming for those folks, and they were getting connected, and children around the country were getting connected. But the impact of the senior and veteran workshops was so great that it's still going. Even though we have in person, we have hybrid learning. And some of those seniors and veterans even had meetups once everything opened up and they were able to travel and see each other, which is super cool. And yeah, it's so funny also saying, "Oh wow, you're taller than I thought you were compared to what you're on, look like on Zooms." Yeah. So it's funny things, little tidbits like that. But and then since then, we've also been able to expand our programming, the workshops that we offer, and we are also now working with neurodivergent adults. So we just keep building and working with more people and expanding and making more impact.
So give me an example of what one of your classes might look like.
Sure. So we offer anything in the arena of performing arts. So there's dance, music, acting, singing, comedy, improv. We even offer something very specific, 1940s Radio Hour, where we take original broadcast recordings and transcribe them and then teach people about the 1940s, reading the scripts, the Foley, how jingles were super important, which I wish those jingles would come back. I mean, how better to advertise a product than with music, but also the emotional connection to the arts and advocating how the arts help the academics or physical and emotional well-being. Math and music go hand in hand, physical well-being with dance, having confidence, building the confidence to speak publicly, and literacy, reading lyrics, reading scripts. It all goes hand in hand. People may not be aware of it in the moment, but once we explain that, they go, "Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it?" And having a safe place for people to try new things, to discover something that the aha moment, AhHa Broadway, but that aha moment when people discover, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know I could do that," or when they've been trying and trying and trying, and they're like, "Oh, I did it today," where that switch in their brain goes, boom, you got this. That is the payoff. That is amazing. It's amazing.
How did you become interested in teaching people about Broadway?
Oh, sure. So I'm a pianist. I'm a professional pianist, and I've always loved acting and dancing. And I worked as a teaching artist as my quote unquote day job after learning that was a possibility. After 9/11, I did have a work as a paralegal, and I was the head of HR for a software development company for 4 different countries. So I learned lots of different skills and had different adventures, as it were. But my passion is the arts, and I have a love of people, and HR isn't there are many facets to HR, so it's not just that piece of the puzzle. So I had the opportunity to work as a teaching artist, and I found that was really a great way to subsidize my income as a performer. And so I was working as a teaching artist, and I was seeing things that I liked, and I was seeing things that I thought could be done better. And so AhHa Broadway was started as weekends, spring break, summer, something to be supplemental to work that I had with other companies and what have you. And then as the pandemic rolled around and everything went away, then it became full time. And so AhHa.
So your side gig became your full-time gig.
And then some. Yes. So the things that I believe set AhHa Broadway apart from other people is we truly 100% care about the community. We love our students. We love meeting the families. We want to give and give and give and give and give. Like I said, to see the AhHa moments, to see people come together, to see the appreciation and the kindness and the love that comes out of it, and to see people becoming creative and empowered and proud of themselves for accomplishing things. The other side of that coin, having been a teaching artist and an administrator, I wanted the teaching artists that we work with to love coming to work, to feel heard and supportive. So if they have a problem, that they know we'll listen and that we'll do our best to have their backs. And also to give them a place to be creative. It's not just follow this template, don't deviate from the plan. We want every person to add their flavor where possible and when possible. And a classroom is not cookie cutter. There are different students' ages. There are different students' capabilities. There are different cultures in the classroom. The amount of students in a class, there are lots of factors. So we modify things to fit, every different school or senior center or one of our independent workshops, so that everyone has the best environment and also a safe and inclusive environment. We want everyone to feel like it's a place to come together and collaborate and have camaraderie and say, I can't wait to come back tomorrow.
So why did you choose to go the nonprofit route rather than for-profit?
Sure. So in New York City, the way to get in schools is, I'm not going to say easiest because it's not easy. For fundraising purposes, it's a better route for what we do. The grants that are given, a lot of them are for nonprofits only. So we can make more impact and reach more people that way. A for-profit, it's just a different animal. So having that behind us, we can apply to more grants and hopefully be in more communities throughout the end of time. Yeah.
I recently volunteered to spend 100 days working on a project here in my community for the unhoused. And the big issue in the county that I live in is that there's a crap load of grant money available to counties to address the unhoused issue, and our county isn't tapping into those dollars. We're the only county in many cases that isn't. However, our county is full of nonprofits. And so our 100-day project that we're working on is trying to figure out why our nonprofits that already exist aren't tapping into the grant process to access these funds. And I know that Michigan and New York have different processes because we are one country in 50 different states, and each of those 50 states has their own way of doing things.
That's right.
But address that issue, the hurdles to accessing this money that's available. And it's not necessarily government money. Right. Grants can come from private funds too.
Oh, yes, of course. There's foundations. There are, yes. So hurdles that I can speak on, nonprofits may not be aware. There's a lot to wade through. There are also a lot of requirements for grants. Like I said, some grants only a nonprofit, or only a certain type of nonprofit, or only a certain county. There are so many factors that you can run across. When you have a grant, it's not just apply and go for it. You have to read all of the requirements. And sometimes a grant has way more requirements than the time and effort invested. Micro grants, sometimes the lift is just huge. And so you say, is it worthy of putting all this time and effort, or should I put my sights
Should I
elsewhere?
spend 20 hours writing this grant proposal for a
Right.
grant that's only $10,000?
Correct. And well, even, I mean, sometimes it's even micro $3,000, and 72 pages, and then you have to supply documentation afterwards. And when you supply your documentation, there are all these rules and requirements there too. So not only do you have to get the grant, but then you have to fulfill the grant, and then you have to document it and have the supplemental materials and have the proof that everything was done and what have you, and that you didn't reimburse yourself for taxes, because a nonprofit is non-tax. And then there are so many factors sometimes, and there are a lot of grants here in New York City that are reimbursable grants, which means, let's say you have a $20,000 grant, you must have that $20,000, you must spend that $20,000, and then you must have money to sustain you while you wait to be reimbursed for that $20,000. And that could take, who knows? Lately, it's about 6 to 8 months, but I've had it be a year and a half. Some people are still waiting after 2 years.
So how do you secure funds while you're waiting for the grant to come through?
That's right. How do you? You have to be very creative sometimes. There are individual donors, sponsorships, applying to other grants, doing in-house workshops, independent fundraising. That way, earned income, you have to be creative. You have to be a smart business person and plan ahead. You have to definitely plan ahead.
Nothing irritates me more than when a person who has no background in nonprofits says things like, I don't think the CEO of a nonprofit should make $600,000 a year. And I'm like, nonprofits do good work, and they work just as hard as corporations, and the people who work at those nonprofits deserve to make commensurate money. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So there are a lot of nonprofits where people are donating their time. They're doing in-kind work. It's only very large nonprofits that have been around for decades and decades, usually, where staff is paid what they're worth. There are what you're speaking of, where there are executive directors or what have you, and if you look at the checks and balances, you're like, And that's what I was talking about, where I am very sincere and very honest in that it's about the community. It's not about filling my pockets. Yes, of course, I would love to make
filling your pockets and paying your personal bills are two different
Sure,
things.
and that exactly.
And you should be paid for the work that you do.
So that's what we all strive for, yeah. And it's funny because, any performing artist or visual artist can say, people ask me all the time, hey, can I have a free CD? Or hey, can you give me a discount on that painting? Or hey, will you play my wedding for free? It's like, oh my goodness, people, would you go to your lawyer and say, hey, I'm a nice person, can I have that for free? Or hey, I love that bread in your bakery, will you just give me some because I like it so much? I'll tell people it's good, and no. People probably wouldn't go to the grocery store and say, I filled my cart, can I just have this? So I don't understand, and I try to advocate and put it out there saying, hey, every time you ask an artist, we took a lifetime of, for me, piano lessons. There's an instrument that had to be purchased. There are all kinds of things that have to be taken care of. If you're a dancer or an actor, you're constantly honing your craft. You're probably still taking workshops. You're still probably coaching so that if you're a vocalist, your voice, you can't go buy a new one, So there are things like that. I think that people just aren't aware. And then during the pandemic, what kept everyone sane? Television, podcasts, music.
Mm-hmm.
The art.
And a lot of those artists were creating art at the risk of their own health.
That's right, the arts. And so I wish that there was more value, and people think, oh, well, everyone's a millionaire. No, They're not, there are a handful of people. And there was an actor just yesterday. I was watching an interview. He was on the television show Lost, and they said, "So what's up now?" And he's like, "Unemployed, trying to find my next show." Once that show's over, you're constantly searching for a new job. There's no 9 to 5 with benefits till you choose, when a Broadway show closes, you go audition and hope to find a new one or some other venture. So it's not it's a different animal. So people just, aren't aware so much, and so we need to just educate them and tell them this is how it goes.
Do you belong to one of the actors guilds or
I am
unions?
part of the local 802 Federated Musicians Union, and I'm also part of Actors Equity.
And so through those, do you have the option to get benefits like health insurance or?
To a degree, it's based a lot on how much you work.
So basically, starving actors don't even have access to health care or starving artists.
It's a whole different animal there as well. So they do have they do have a lot of support, and but it's not just you get a job, you have health insurance benefits. It's not the same as a corporate job or what have you.
There's so many misconceptions about the arts. When I was in my early 20s, so this would have been the early 90s, my grandmother, her name was Louise Stone, she received an award, like a Lifetime Achievement Award from the League of Women Voters for her work in the arts. So she had been a piano teacher. She taught art at jails and prisons, and she was a working artist. She did watercolors and pottery, and she managed to make a living doing it. But she did this work in the community. She gave her time to these prisons to teach these art classes. And when she received this award from the League of Women Voters, one of the things that she said was that we can't let art disappear from our schools. And that was 35 years ago. And art has disappeared for all intents and purposes from our schools. So organizations like yours are sometimes the only opportunity kids have to be exposed to art. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, there are beautiful giant band rooms in a lot of the public schools, and they are being used for storage. They are empty. It's really sad. And there are so many kids, the parents can't always afford private lessons. It's not an inexpensive dance lessons, piano, music lessons, instrumental, anything, even visual arts supplies cost money. You hear about public school teachers spending their own money to bring in their own supplies. This is true. This is a fact. And how many other jobs say you've got to bring your own supplies to work, what have you. So it's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating. And for some reason, that's one of the first things that are always cut. It's been proven to be so beneficial. I don't understand why. Like I was talking about earlier, the arts go hand in hand with academics and with physical wellness, mental and emotional wellness, confidence and all. Some schools are very passionate about it, and they'll raise PTA funds if they don't have the money. There is supposed to be money allocated, but it's up to the schools to figure out how that's spent. So that it's many different sources and places where the decisions are made. And some of the schools that I'm in, it's amazing, and they're so supportive. And some of the schools I'm in, oh my goodness, there's one school that I went in, and what some of the questions that you think are no-brainers, I've learned to ask. So, hi, could you come in and accompany a music class, play the piano, and also work with our choir? Sure. Do you have a piano? I have to ask, do you have a piano or a keyboard? Because I've shown up and there's nothing there. Like, what did you want me to do? So I ask, do you have a piano or a keyboard? And one of the schools that I came into.
Do they really expect you to bring a piano? It cost you $800 probably to move a piano from one place to another in New York City,
but
if not more.
With a keyboard on the subway, most people do not own a car in New York City. So yes, I'm schlepping my 82-pound keyboard on the subway up and down stairs, etc. No. I mean, no. I've done it. It's not pleasant, but correct. You are right. So I said, And they said, actually, we have both. So you can pick which one you want. Oh, wow. Fascinating. Wonderful. Yay. So I show up and I see the piano and there's a bunch of chipped keys, which people think, oh, but they still play. No, but they cut my fingers. They create calluses and things. So, ow, thank you. So I go to play it and it's like, do 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 clunk, clunk, and I open, it's a baby grand. I open it and it's been used as a trash can.
Oh my
They've been
gosh.
just chucking trash underneath.
Inside the baby grand piano.
Yes. So once I remove all of that, I see, oh, there are some broken strings. And okay, this isn't going to work. So could I see the keyboard? Sure, we'll go get that for you. So they come and it's this little toy keyboard I think it was 2.5, maybe 3 octaves, which a piano is 88 keys. Keyboards can range 66 keys, 72 keys, or whatever. This one was, I think, 24 keys. Honestly, what do you do? So you have to improvise, you have to think on your feet, you do the best that you can. So, yes.
I was at an event last week. Keynote speaker was the founder and CEO of one of the largest employers in my city. And his company manufactures airplane parts. That's the big industry in this area is airplane, rocket, car parts, right? And so his company manufactures airplane parts and car parts for companies all over the world. So he's traveled to Japan, Korea. One of the things he said, and he is from this town, one of the things he said is, I learned all of the skills that I need to run my company in high school. He learned CAD, welding. He learned all of this in high school. So he was well equipped to start this company that became one of the largest employers in our community in high school. And he doesn't look like he's much older than I am. So he might be in his early 60s. All right, which means the 70s is when he got this education. And that's 40 years ago. In 40 years, we have gone from learning all the skills that you need in high school to create a company that becomes the largest employer in a city. And now our kids don't even learn how to play the flutophone.
You just reminded me, I saw something on social media yesterday. Someone was in music class, they were teaching these kids cello. And this one kid said, I don't understand, I want to be a neurosurgeon. But I don't understand why I have to play cello. I don't understand why we have to learn cello right now. And the teacher was just about to say, when another kid said, hey, my mom is one and she took cello. So what are you trying to say? And I was like, well, there you go. And the teacher was like, high five, thank you very much. So yes, you never know. This goes with anyone, not just a child, but we've all done this. Why do I have to do this? I don't like this. I'm never going to do this. And I'll give you an easy example. My mother was a business school teacher until I was, I think, 12 years old. And one summer when I was 9 years old, she told my brother and me, 20 minutes every morning, Monday through Friday, you're going to learn how to type. I was like, because that's what all the 9-year-olds are doing, Mother. And so I was grouchy, like any 9-year-old would be. I don't want to learn how to type. Well, hello, what do we do on computers and phones and da-da-da? And I said, thank you, Mother. I'm sorry I grouched at you and probably was less than pleasant, but I can type fast, I can type with relatively few mistakes, and thank you, So there you go. But I'm so grateful for that. In the moment, was I grateful? No, but I am grateful for that. And there are so many people, parents impart wisdom and life lessons on kids. And if they don't, then a teacher may impart those life lessons and wisdom, or an employer or a babysitter. You never know where it's going to come from. You never know what's true. But the things go hand in hand that you may not put 2 and 2 together in the moment.
Yeah.
And these things all add up.
Teachers and mentors come in all shapes and sizes, and the ability to inspire people. When I was in 7th grade, one of my classmates told me that our home ec teacher said I was bossy. And so I decided I was going to own bossy, and I tripled down on it. And I'm not sure if him telling me that, I would have ended up being the boss girl that I am, right? I don't like that phrase, but you know what I'm
I
saying.
do understand.
And then I had a teacher, a history teacher or a government teacher, one of those teachers, tell me that I spent too much of my time focused on drama and French club and all the fun things that I did, even though I graduated 7th out of 425 students. So it's not like I was doing poorly in class. But he told me I spent too much of my time focused on the fun stuff that I was doing, like drama, like the arts, right? And then I think about my drama teacher, my arts teacher, who told me that I could be anybody I wanted to be, right? When you take theater, you really can be anybody.
Literally, that
You
is
can
what
step
acting
into this
is.
character, right? You can step into this character. I just think that when you have people who are teaching you art or who just really believe in you, it's so important. And when you're too focused on what score you're going to receive on this academic test that really doesn't measure anything other than that you can memorize these answers, right? Versus let me learn reason and critical thinking skills, which you learn from the arts, right? You know, and patience. There's so many benefits. And so if you are in a situation where your kid's school doesn't offer the arts, plug into AhHa Broadway. They have Zoom classes. Right? What are some of the other benefits of the arts?
Well, I'll take away from the patience piece that I just said. There's patience with others, and there's also patience with yourself. And it's easier said than done. I understand that because I want to know everything yesterday. I am one of those people. I'm like, I started piano, in fact, when I was 6.5 years old. My parents got a piano, and I went to go play a song, and I was like, why can't I do this? And my mother and dad said, well, you have to take piano lessons. And so my dad was a high school math teacher, asked students, do you have a piano teacher that you like working with and admire? And a girl raised her hand. She said, my mother teaches piano and I like her. So I went to my piano lesson, came home, went to go play the song, and I'm like, didn't work. And they said, well, you have to take more than one piano lesson. That's how I wanted to know it now. I did my lesson. I want to play, I want to be there. And I wasn't, so I continued. And then I found out that I had talent there. And I did my first recital 4 months later and liked the applause. I was like, yes, I can do this. I like that.
And the applause gives you reason to keep wanting to learn more.
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
was the recognition of good job. Who doesn't want to hear good job, whether it's verbally or through the applause, or the instant gratification of it's music. I hear it. It's pretty, or even when you're angry, it's a great outlet. I've one of my favorite pieces to play is Prokofiev's Seventh Sonata. If I'm angry, I mean it's just a big, the third movement. I'm just like, yeah, get that out there. It gets that energy
Cathartic.
put into a place that's positive, first of all, and so there's that, and then patience with each other. When I work with my kids in a musical theater production, there's the teamwork and the collaboration. And we send letters home to parents as well, saying every child's important, no matter what their job is. And we do our best to feature everyone and have their time in the spotlight. When they miss a rehearsal, we all feel it. They think, oh, well, whatever. No, 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 not whatever. That ice cream, you can do that any other day of the week. Go get ice cream on another day. Because they may have a partner in a scene. You just took away their partner, the kids learn it immediately. When someone's missing, well, my partner's not here. What do I do? Or that person that I hand this prop to is not here. What do I do? Stuff happens. We understand that, obviously. But the impact that it makes when someone's missing, that shows you're important. You may feel like you're a little sidekick or a background actor or supporting a musician who's soloing, what have you, but you're important. They're all important. And so you see how you're just a cog in the works. No, you all work together to make the final product. If you have a show without the lighting person, you're doing it in the dark. If you have a show without the stage manager, where is everybody? I don't know. They're all over the place. So yeah, everyone has an important piece of that puzzle.
when I was in my early 20s, I found this children's musical theater and I volunteered to be their stage manager for their productions. That 3 or 4 years that I spent volunteering with this children's theater, these 8 to 15-year-olds, the time that I spent with these kids and watching them grow up, watching their talent, being amazed at how amazingly talented a 12-year-old can be, and Joseph and his Technicolor raincoat, right? Or is that the name
Raincoat.
of the play? Yeah, it
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
Raincoat.
I'm a
You
terrible
know,
person with titles.
I just to see them singing these huge songs, these kids, and doing this amazing job. It was so much more rewarding, and watching them develop and grow and blossom, and and then the when new kids came in, how they would just enfold them into the family. It was so rewarding, and and you get to do that every day.
It's yeah. That's why I invite people. I say, join us on our Zoom comedy show. Who doesn't need to laugh? First of all, that raise your hand if you don't like laughing.
So talk about your Zoom comedy show.
Oh,
Is this
well,
something that you do often?
yes, we have. That was what I was, one of our senior and veteran workshops that we have has continued on as a Zoom workshop because we can still have our good times with everybody all over the country and beyond. You don't have to be a comedian. You don't have to come with experience. You can. It's all levels. And it's called Put the Fun in Your Funny. And you may have funny stories. You may have jokes. And then our professional comedian teacher helps flesh that out, and it's collaborative. Everyone gets to be a part of it. Our workshops, that was one thing, backtracking a little bit. The parents, when we were all online learning, the parents were like, oh, more talking heads. I don't want my kid doing that. I was like, no, 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 no. We are not just talking heads. The kids are not muted. They're participating. They're collaborating. They're creative. They get to say their ideas so that everyone can hear them. With the grown-ups classes, it's the same thing. They can say, hey, what if you change the order of that? Or what if you use this word instead of that word? And so after 5 weeks, they have a showcase, an online showcase for family and friends, and it's invitation. Everyone has to give me a reservation, as it were, so we don't have hackers come in and and so we don't publicize the link. That way I can track, and we have a monitor to make sure that the people that are attending are legit, but it's free to attend. And we have Saturday afternoons and Monday evenings, and the Mondays, who doesn't need laughter on a Monday? Also, hello. And then the work.
So is this every week or once a month or?
So we have it's ongoing and registration, and then it was so successful that we then have developed 4 more since then. Level Up Your Laughter, for those who have taken Put the Fun in Your Funny forever and ever, it seems, in some cases, because it's fun, but they're ready for that next challenge. So we have Level Up Your Laughter. We have So You Want to Be an MC. Hey, I like being a comedian, but I want to host. I want to MC. So we have So You Want to Be an MC. We have Urgent Care Comedy. It's a one-time workshop for those who have that joke that no matter what they've done, no matter how they worked it, no matter it's just not working. So they bring in.
So have you ever had any of your students go on to
Oh,
do comedy professionally?
oh
Or?
yes, oh yes, they're in open mics. Some of them have. I mean, we also aren't taking credit for the people study with other coaches and what have you, and they've got connections that they may have had before they came to us as well. But yeah, I mean, they've been on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. They've been in documentaries. They've opened for other comedians. They've been in open mics. They've won contests. The list. One of them, who'd been doing comedy for years and years, but she was on America's Got Talent. There's all kinds of, and we want to celebrate the people no matter where they got it from. I mean, they actually, they have that funny bone already,
Yeah.
but we just, it's just a really wonderful community. We invite people to come to those showcases.
So how would a listener plug into this comedy night?
So you can follow us on AhHaBroadway.org. You can follow, which is our website. You can follow us Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn as well, but that's more of the business profile. But we constantly post, and we have our flyers. You can join our mailing list. You get the email blasts. We don't spam people to death about things. I try to not be white noise. I try to just send just the facts, ma'am. So that people can be aware of what we do. And if they want to be a part of it, yes, absolutely join us. Try it out. It's so much fun.
So those links will be in the show notes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And a lot of people, we had a community center that was doing a comedy workshop with us, and people showed up and said, I don't want to do it. I just want to watch. They were scared. Okay, that's okay. And no judgment. That's what we're about. And so they watched and they said, well, can I actually be in it next time? I said, 100%. And then they gave their showcase, and it was a nice audience. And then some of those audience members said, I want to do that. How do I do that? I said, just show up next time, sign up. So then the next time we had some more people. And then the audience had a few more people. And then now it's standing room only. We can barely fit it. We're going to have to find a new room in that community center because we can't fit everybody. And that's the thing, is that they discovered it's a safe place. No one's going to tease you. No one's going to say your jokes are dumb. We're there to lift each other up and to have fun and to learn and to be funny. That's just one example. We also have a show that we've done as a professional performance, but also we let schools take on that program, the Kindness Project, and it's all about perpetuating the message of kindness. So
that's my language.
And literacy. We give free books so they can take it home and they don't forget, and then they share it with their family and their friends. So
reading a script for a play is a great way to learn to read.
Oh yeah.
Because of the character, everything about the arts is important.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do people give you money?
Sure. We have donation buttons on our website. It's constant. It's all year round. We do Giving Tuesday. We have.
You participate in Podcasthon.
Oh, yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. I mean, collaborations and the impact that it makes being with you today.
Let's just you don't have to give me numbers if you don't want to, but for the audience, so that we can generate some income for your, let's get some donations going to AhHa Broadway.
Okay.
Give me an idea of what it costs AhHa Broadway to run that community center program.
Minimum $6,000.
So $6,000 to run one program.
Yes.
And you have how many programs?
Oh gosh, right now, dozens and dozens.
Dozens and dozens.
It just depends on what we have as to what we can do. That's really all, where it comes from. And when people say, or when I say, donate that 1 cup of fancy coffee, it can happen. We had 3,000 donors one year donate $5 to $10. That helped us for a year and a quarter, year and a half.
That's huge.
So it is huge. And people say, oh, that's piddly. No. It all adds up. That 1 cup of coffee is meaningful. Whatever you can do, or share our mission, share what we do, attend and see what we do firsthand. That's what I was saying. See the joy it brings to the people on stage and the people in the audience, Donor matching in your company. Maybe the place that you work does donor matching. Ask about it. Maybe they do corporate sponsorships. Maybe you can do a peer-to-peer fundraising with us, collaborate with us, volunteer. There are so many ways to make an impact. It all adds up. It all is meaningful. It truly is meaningful. But yeah, we have a Mighty Cause, and Mighty Cause doesn't spam people. But we have, Benevity, Your Cause, PayPal Giving Fund. There are many, many ways. If people don't know what to do, email us on our website. There's a contact form. Email me, tell me your ideas, or ask, how can I help? I don't understand. I'm so happy to communicate with people. Ask those questions. I can't fix what I don't know.
So audience, if this interview has moved you, find $5 in your PayPal account, and the information on how to send that over to AhHa Broadway will be in the show notes. All right, I have one more really important question that I want to talk about, because veterans are near and dear to my heart. My father was in the Air Force, and then he worked for his entire career working for the Department of the Army in some way, shape, or form. I've always been around veterans and people in the military, so I have this deep respect for them, and it's breaking my heart to see that we are not honoring our sacred commitment to our veterans as a country that the way that we should be. Give me a story about how AhHa Broadway has helped a veteran.
Um, it's hard for me to not get choked up. PTSD and brain injuries and health issues. Put yourself in people's shoes. It's hard to, even come close to imagining what certain people have given up for us so that we don't have to, even so that we have the rights and the freedoms. And to dismiss things or belittle things, to pass judgment, is just it's cruel, honestly. It's cruel. And our workshops, I've got testimonials from them saying, this is a lifesaver. I was in a dark place. I felt alone. I didn't think anyone would understand, or I thought people would make fun of me because I can't process things intellectually or verbally or what have you, because of, what I've been through. So thank you. And for me, it's such a small thing to give with such a great result, and in the moment, I don't know. I mean, all I see is what I see. And then when they tell me the backstory, because I don't, expect people to share the nitty gritty or things that are so personal that some people may be ashamed to share. And there should be no shame. But when they say you're a lifesaver, I was in a dark place. I mean, whew, that is heavy. That's heavy. And, work through it. We'll work through it. If someone has a speech problem or they can't process the words that they're searching for, it's okay. We're in this together. We're there for each other, So that's, without giving away too much, or, being specific about who said what. That's a prime example.
The thing with brain injuries, there's so many veterans who have brain injuries, and brain injuries are hidden. You don't see them.
Exactly. There's just so many facets to someone's story. And unless you ask them, you don't know. And they don't owe it to tell you either. If someone is suffering,
it's none of your business. It's none of our business. So stop being nosy.
We need to be more grateful for what we have. We need to share the wealth, whatever that wealth is. Wealth of knowledge, wealth of compassion, wealth of empathy, wealth of finance, wealth of food, whatever it is, we need to share that. Gratitude is not in this moment. Gratitude is the future. It is the past. It is the now. Being kind. It's so much easier to be nice, people. It feels better. There are studies and studies and studies on being kind, being honest. It's so much easier. It really is. And you never know those little acts of kindness. I know that sounds cliche, but the littlest things you don't know. Someone might have just needed that, holding the door for them. You don't know. I was walking past a bookstore one day. Bookstores for me are very dangerous because I'm addicted and I already have enough books that I haven't read. So anyway, I'm walking by, don't look. But there's a man just standing in front of the door and he had a walker and I was like, huh. I turned around and I said, do you need help with the door? And he said, I've been waiting for someone to say that to me. People just kept walking and I opened the door and he went right in. But
it's pretty obviously what he needed.
He needed to have both hands on the walker and he just needed that door open. And he's like, and just the way he said it, I was like, oh, you sweet man. And, I just that little thing, open the door, and then the other act of kindness, this is a crazy story. I was on a bus going across town. We get to a bus stop. This woman gets on and she's frantic. My backpack. I left my green backpack on this bus. My phone says, my AirTag says, it's on here. Everyone looks under their seats. The bus driver says, we got to get, and she's like, it says it's here. I can't find it. No one has it. Please, people, no judgment. I'm not going to turn you in. I'm not going to be upset. Just give me my backpack. It's not there. So she gets off of the bus. We go to the next stop. She gets on, which means she ran blocks and blocks, avenues, whatever. And she's like, people, it still says it's here. I'm following and I'm seeing it. It's going, it's going, it's going. It's not there. It's not. And she's like, I don't understand. I don't understand. She gets off of the bus. We go, keep going. We get to the next stop. She gets on the bus a third time. She's just dripping. She's like, my car keys are in there. Not car keys, excuse me, my apartment keys, things that are irreplaceable. Please, people, please. And we hear this, and it's a horn in a taxi cab. And this man runs on the bus. He goes, I've been following you in my taxi. I was sitting next to you. You left your bag. So the air tag that she was following was the taxi cab behind us that this generous person hopped in to return her bag to her. But they couldn't get her attention as she ran avenue to avenue. So he finally got out of the cab, ran onto the bus, caught her, and said, here it is. So she was correct. The air tag was following the right route. It was just the taxi versus the bus. This person spent their own money, their own time, their own effort trying to return this bag to a stranger. She got what she needed and done. And scene, they say. True story. True story.
That should be in a movie. That scene needs to be written into a movie.
Yes. But it was just,
because
there are good people.
there are good people.
There are heroes for the smallest.
I mean, if that's the opening scene of a movie, I'm going to watch the rest of it because I want to know what happens next. Wow.
She was just, and we all were like.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love it when strangers clap for you. You know, I accidentally did the splits in an airport once. It was very hilarious. And so my sister starts clapping and then everybody started clapping. That's a priceless memory for my family, right? It's a priceless memory. And there was audience participation from the other people around us. How does somebody accidentally do the splits? That's a story for another time. All right, Heather Edwards, this is your moment of gratitude. For whom or what are you most grateful?
I'm grateful for the people that are selfless and just give those acts of kindness and share the wealth, share the knowledge, and do the right thing. We all just need to do more of that, where it just isn't even, where it just is. It's not an effort, it just is. I'm really grateful for those people that perpetuate that message and show us the light.
And that wraps up this special episode as part of Podcasthon. If you enjoyed it, feel free to visit podcasthon.org to discover hundreds of other associations through the voices and talents of amazing podcasters. Thanks for tuning in to Gratitude Geek, the podcast for grateful micropreneurs building genuine, lasting connections with clients, colleagues, and community. Our theme music is by Rev Brock and Soul Lily. To connect with Heather Edwards and AhHa Broadway and make that generous donation of $5 or whatever you have, $6,000 would be cool too. Head over to the show notes at gratitudegeek.com. This is episode 263. I've been your host, Candice Rodarty. Stay groovy, my friends.
Stay groovy, my friends.